Hello, world. Hello, world, and welcome to the Shannon Joy Show. We're broadcasting live from the Joy Virtual Studio right here in the beautiful Finger Lakes region of New York State. It is so good to be with all of you today. It is Thursday, May 28th, and we have a big show for you today. You see the headline, Pension Plunder, in a stunning video. The CEO of Blackrock and senior Trump advisor Larry Fink admitted that they are going to target American retirement accounts, pensions, 401ks in order to fund the build out of what they're calling the Manhattan Project of the 21st century, the data centers, the AI, and all of the expansion of the technocracy here in the United States of America. And you are going to pay for it. We're going to get into that in just a minute, but it is great to see all of you today on the Shannon Joy Show. Of course, we are live on Rumble. Thrilled to partner with Rumble. We broadcast from this studio through Rumble Studio every day, and so thankful for support of that platform. Of course, we're live on Twitter. We're on Roku TV, Apple TV, broadcasting live on YouTube, growing that audience, which is amazing. Great to see all of you who are watching right now on YouTube. Of course, we're on X. We are on about a dozen platforms every single day. And of course, you can get the Shannon Joy Show at your leisure via podcast. If you enjoy listening, we do about 300,000 podcast downloads every single month. The Shannon Joy Show Network, this independent, not left, not right, just the truth, straight up, no chaser every single day. This tiny little network, and we're delivering about 1.5 million views and downloads every single month. 7 to 8 million impressions, which is just astonishing. Could not do it without all of you. And one of the reasons that we're growing so much and so fast is because we feature here on the SJ Show the most brilliant guests, the most courageous guest experts to talk about the news of the day, to sift through the left-wing propaganda, the right-wing propaganda, because as we all know, it's all propaganda, whether you're watching left-wing news media, the MSN, or you're on social media or Fox News. The same agenda, two different versions, right? The left-wing version and the right-wing version dumped on Americans every day. And it is really hard to sift through all of that, but we do it every day here in the Shannon Joy Show. And so your support is so valued. If you want to support the Shannon Joy Show, you can go to my website, theshannonjoy.com, theshannonjoy.com. At the very least, sign up for my daily e-newsletter. I send it out to you every day. I write it organically myself. It features all of the top stories of the day that I'm looking at, a lot of the stories that we feature here in the Shannon Joy Show, and it alerts you to when we go live every day. So we send that to your inbox every day. Most importantly, it is my direct connection to all of you. As you know, this show has been deplatformed 4 or 5 times over the past 13 years. And so every time we're deplatformed, it necessitates connection to all of you. And that email list is incredibly important. We've actually grown it to 45,000 email subscribers in just the past year and a half, which is amazing. And this is my direct line to all of you. So it's very important that you subscribe. So go to theshannonjoy.com, theshannonjoy.com. We're growing a lot on Substack as well. Welcome to all of you Substack viewers. So let's hit the live chat before we get to Tiffany Cianci, who is brilliant, by the way. Tiffany is a private equity expert. She's a fierce critic of Wall Street and corruption, this administration, but also the last administration. She is, independent in the same way that we're independent here in the Shannon Joy Show, and she's going to help us expose what all of this means. And I'll reiterate, today we're going to look at just a stunning video, which I'll share with you, from Trump's senior advisor, Larry Fink of Blackrock. He just went public and admitted that trillions in new investments for AI infrastructure will come straight from your savings accounts and pension funds. And you don't have a choice. The government now is going to aid and abet these corporate billionaires, the people who have such a stranglehold on our elected officials, our government entities, the bureaucracies within Washington, D.C. And as we mentioned yesterday, a really important interview I did with Peter Schiff, we defined what fascism is. It is the unholy alliance of big government and big corporate. When they come together and they tether themselves to each other, they can absolutely crush free markets, and they're crushing the American dream. And right now, the federal government under the Trump administration is going to help Larry Fink and his cronies pickpocket your retirement accounts. And if we don't stand up and speak out, there's going to be nothing people can do about this. And this is really going to impact adults 65 plus, the boomer generation, who right now think that they're sitting pretty on their 401ks. You know, the Dow is up over 51,000. That's all this administration has to talk about it when it comes to the economy and whether or not it's good or bad. They just keep pointing to Wall Street and the Dow. Well, when their retirement accounts become invested in the Ponzi scheme that is AI, it's going to put everything that they've saved at risk. And so we're going to understand this in a very detailed way with Tiffany Cianci. She's going to be with us to go into all of that. She's also a small business warrior, by the way, and she has battled private equity giants firsthand. She's been on the show multiple times. You guys are going to love her, and we're going to get into that in just about 6 minutes here on the Shannon Joy Show. And we have an overview of this video clip of Larry Fink. By the way, it's gone viral. It's had over 2.6 million views on X, 28,000 likes, and it's growing very quickly. It's sparking a major backlash now against not only Blackrock and these private equity firms and the banksters that are completely connected to Washington, D.C. and Trump Inc., but, you know, the backlash is now against the data centers, and we're seeing that across the country. And people are getting really creeped out about AI as well. Artificial intelligence. What does that mean for humanity? What does that mean for our future jobs? You know, there's a lot of dystopian predictions out there from people like Elon Musk and the tech bros about how humans just don't matter anymore. We won't need you. AI is going to become super intelligent and cancel all the jobs. And there's a lot of hype out there. We've discussed that on the show. But at this point, Americans are not buying it. And I have a really great clip from Ed Dowd reiterating some of the things that we've been saying. It's been a while since I've had Ed Dowd on the program, but he's talking about the great taking. And this is getting a lot of attention on Twitter. I want to play this for you to set up what Tiffany and I are going to be talking about, because it is very important. So take a look at what Ed Dowd had to say about the great taking, the AI infrastructure, the data center build out, and what it means. I mean, what they have in the plans that they have for us and what they have in store for us in the near future. Take a look.
You know, we need to stop it. And, you know, I don't know what we can do, but it's certainly alarming. And this tokenization of everything, basically the way Catherine Austin Fitts describes it, and I agree with her, right now, currently, you know, when you have a sale or a purchase, there are two parties. You know, there's me and there's the company. Tokenization introduces a third person in the party who gets to approve that transaction. And that's the scariest thing. Right now, I can interact with someone and buy something, and someone can interact with me and buy something that I offer. You get tokenization involved, it gives a central planner the ability to veto the transaction. And I think that is definitely anti-humanity, anti-freedom, capitalism. It's a massive land grab and power grab.
So is that where the whole you'll own nothing and be happy by 2030 thing comes in? Because we are all trying to figure that out. Is that where that comes in?
I think so. And look, tokenization would introduce the ability of someone to a third party to approve or not approve the transaction. I mean, you want to go to the dystopian end of this. Let's say central planners decided they wanted meat quotas. And you go to the grocery store, and I guess you've already had your meat quota for the month. They would be able to block that transaction at the register. So the person at the register couldn't do anything and would tell you to return the meat. And if you tried to take it out of there, you'd be stealing. even though you had the money.
So do you think people that own their home, they own real estate that's paid off, rental properties, they have gold, they have silver, they're doing everything they can to be in hard assets out of the system? Are those people forced into the system? Do they come along and say to someone that has a house that's paid off, and do they do something that forces them to tokenize that paid off house or rental property?
I don't know yet, but I will say this: if they try the great taking or they try this mass tokenization, I think that's a bridge too far, and people will get very agitated. And if you really want to inflame and enrage the populace, especially in America, try taking their assets or telling them they're worth. Try telling someone their stock portfolio is worth one tenth of what it was because we needed to bail out the system. That's not going to go over very well.
And so that was Ed Dowd. And I liked what he had to say at the end, that at some point they're going to have to pull the trigger, right? Tokenization is a way for them to come in and essentially take every physical item on the planet, every blade of grass, every tree, every human, every child, everything on Earth is tokenized. It's given a digital avatar or a digital counterpart, and it's monetized, and they control all of that. So through digital ID, through digital currency, and the tokenization of everything, even humans, right? A valuation of human beings and our intellectual property, even our physical bodies, is what they're planning. This is why they need 5,000 Manhattan-sized data centers installed across the United States of America. That's why they want to turn this country into a parking lot. And just to put that into context, the next largest build out of data centers in the world is in China. And I think they're building out about 400. Here in the US, we're pushing 5,000. This is going to change the entire landscape of our country. But they need those data centers because they have to crunch the numbers and all the data. So everything that they're going to collect in the surveillance state, everything that they collect via the digital ID, digital money, whether they try biosurveillance so they can even collect data on what's happening inside of our bodies. These are trillions and trillions and trillions of data points that need to be churned and burned and analyzed by AI. And that's their big picture. That's what they want for the 21st century. We're all digital slaves, every one of us, tracked and traced and controlled. And this is why we're seeing Larry, this is why they're calling what they're doing. It's the Genesis Project, I believe. And they're calling it, all of the insiders, the tech bros, the Trump administration, and the people who are in the know in DC, they're calling it the 21st Century Manhattan Project. This has everything to do with what they're building under the ballroom. This has everything to do with all the infrastructure that they're trying to shove down our throats in terms of the data centers, to the point where now, this was just reported on Polymarket, the FBI is now warning of rising what they called anti-tech extremism as American citizens pour out into their local communities and beat back these data centers. Again, since the rollout, since the opposition, and I'm going to go back to this, 50% of the data centers that have been proposed in small communities across the United States of America have been either delayed or completely canceled. And this is making the tech bros and the Trump administration very nervous. And this is why now they're labeling grandmas and grandpas who are showing up at board meetings to protest against and push back on the data centers anti-tech extremists. And they're also looking at calling them domestic terrorists as well. And this is as opposition to AI data centers intensifies. In fact, even Anna Paulina Luna is reading from her script, okay? She's a Republican congresswoman and a Trump humper. And she's all in on all of this. And she tweeted out this piece of disinformation. The CCP, they're going to blame this on China. The CCP has launched an all-out war against American AI, says Anna Paulina Luna, which is completely false. It's regular Americans of all ages, male, female, young, old, black, white, you name it, turning out to board meetings and smashing down these data projects. And that is good news. Doesn't mean that we don't like artificial intelligence here at the Shannon Joy Show. We don't mind technology. We don't mind data. But what they're planning is all out dystopia. And this is the full context of what was said. And we're going to discuss this with Tiffany Cianci when she joins us. The Blackrock CEO, Larry Fink. Okay, he is one of Donald Trump's senior advisors. Blackrock is behind some of the worst anti-freedom, anti-liberty, anti-American, anti-free market initiatives. He's one of the banksters that has been behind so many, so many of, these consolidations between massive corporations and the government. But this is where the clip came from. It was Larry Fink, and he was sitting down with Greg Abbott, who is the Republican governor of Texas. Texas, by the way, the number one state for data center projects. They have, I believe, upwards towards 500, vastly more than any other state in the country. Virginia is slightly behind them, I think around 300. And then Ohio, another red state with a red governor, is in third. So Larry Fink went to Texas to try to pimp these data centers to the Republican governor of Texas. And Greg Abbott was all too willing to sit down with him, but he let the cat out of the bag in this discussion. Now, it was a fireside chat, and it was at the Texas State Technical College in Waco, Texas. The event launched BlackRock's $30 million Future Builders Initiative to train electricians and skilled trade workers to join the infrastructure boom, he calls it, of data centers, power grids, and energy projects that are driven by the AI Manhattan Project, whose roots are in the Genesis project. So this is crazy. And what he said was that, apparently this is going to be funded by American pensions and retirement plans. And this is what he had to say. I'm going to play this. I'm going to play it for Tiffany when she comes in again. But I want you guys to get a load of what he had to say here. Take a look.
Americans to think about growing with the United States. We will have far than enough money to invest in this infrastructure. But as the governor was talking about, the need for electrons is growing every day. Some of these, if we're going to be the leader in technology, which we are, if we are going to be the leader in AI, which we presently are, it's just going to require trillions of dollars of investments. And if we don't invest in it, China will be the global leader in this. And so to me, it's not whether, this is a must. And if you think about how that translates, it translates into a more dynamic economy. We need the United States economy to grow at over 2%. We need the U.S. economy to grow at 3%, especially with the growing deficits the federal government has. And so much of this money, not just the project, is going to be coming from the private sector, from savings accounts, from pension accounts, from insurance companies, and on and on and on. The whole world is in need of improving the infrastructure.
Savings accounts, retirement accounts, pensions, the American people. This entire thing is going to be funded by you. They're going to raid your pension. They're going to raid your 401k. Some of you might not even know it. And the federal government is going to help them do this. This is outrageous. It's outrageous. And we have Tiffany Cianci in the house ready to talk about this with us in just a minute. Are you ready to stand by and sit by as the Trump administration and the tech bros and the banksters consolidate power to change the entire infrastructure of the United States of America and plunder your savings, your pensions, and your retirement? People need to know about what's going on here. So we're going to go to a break very quickly. I'm going to bring Tiffany Cianci in to the Joy virtual studio. Make sure you guys keep it tuned right here. Quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. Tiffany, by the way, you are on a hot mic. So as we go to commercial break, we're both going to be, I know, you're too much. You can hear her already, guys. She's coming. She's coming. All right, we're going to go to break, and I'm going to bring her in, and we are going to continue this discussion right here on the Shannon Joy Show. But I do want to talk about parasites. So as you know, there's been a big medical hack of 2025. Everyone's talking about parasites. In fact, my husband, devastatingly handsome Dr. Joy, was recently talking about parasites as well. It's one of those topics that just has not made its way into the mainstream conversation about why we get sick, right? You go to the doctor and it's either a virus or a bacteria or virus, but you never hear a doctor ever saying, well, maybe it's a parasite, right? So there's a lot of emerging research on this. And one of the best thing that's happened in 2025 was several peer-reviewed studies that identified direct connections between anti-parasitic medications having off-label benefits, fighting a variety of cancers. So this makes a lot of sense. The connection between tumor growth and parasites has been known for years. Now, while currently the CDC remains silent, they have admitted, finally, that millions of Americans are suffering from parasitic infections that often go undetected or undiagnosed. This is why Dr. Peter McCullough, Chief Scientific Officer over at the Wellness Company and the world's most published cardiologist, says, quote, these studies make a clear case to do at least one medical grade parasite cleanse every single year. And the TWC parasite cleanse is the real deal. This is not your mother's cleanse. This is not some supplement. This is an amazing product. It is the Wellness Company's proprietary USA compounded ivermectin plus mebendazole. It is a doctor-prescribed gold standard combination dose, and it's designed to help the body eliminate parasites plus a lot of other incredible benefits. Each bottle contains 90 capsules, and it's enough to complete a 21-day cleanse. So the formula cannot be found at your local pharmacy. There's no equivalent out there. But the Wellness Company removes all of that red tape by making the process fully digital. So all you have to do is fill out a quick intake form. A doctor will review the form, and your medical grade parasite cleanse will arrive to you within a week. So this is a once a year cleanse. It is worth every penny, and it's time for people to get healthy and pay attention to the parasites. So head to twc.health/joy right now. twc.health/joy. That is my landing page. If you use the promo code JOY, that's JOY, they're going to take $60 off your parasite cleanse. Plus, they're going to give you free shipping. That is only at twc.health/joy. That is twc.health/joy. Annie has popped up the QR code in the corner of the screen. You can click on that or just hover your phone over it to go right to my site and enjoy a very special gift for the SJ audience. $60 off plus free shipping on every order when you use the JOY promo code. And by the way, use the JOY promo code every time you shop at TWC. If you're already plugged in, you're already using some of their products, make sure you use that JOY code so they know I sent you. All right, guys, welcome back to the Shannon Joy Show. Thank you all for being here with me today. Everyone is pretty feisty on the live chat today on Rumble. I'm going to get to the live chat after my interview with Tiffany. And we're also going to run, speaking of the data centers, it's not just the environmental impact. It's not just the dystopia that necessitates the data center build out, the AI, big tech, techno-fascist dystopia that people are worried about. They're also worried about health impacts, particularly EMF and frequency poisoning. And so we have a really important guest. I did an interview last week with Martha Blanco, who is an expert on these topics. She's with the Satellite Phone Store, and she's going to join us at the end of this program. I'm going to run that interview with her because there are very, very real human health impacts that happen when you build a massive, massive data center in people's backyards, which is what they're trying to do. So we're going to talk about that EMF poisoning in just a little bit here in the Shannon Joy Show. But I'm really thrilled now. I want to bring in Tiffany Cianci, regular guest on the Shannon Joy Show. Girl, thank you so much for coming.
Did you just say my name right?
Short notice. I know we were talking yesterday and you said, Shannon, I've got to get in. We have got to warn every single American, particularly people over the age of 65 who have been saving their entire lives, pensions, 401k, their savings accounts, everything is on the table, said Larry Fink. I want to play that video for you and get your feedback in just a minute, but welcome to the show and thank you for being with us today.
I always love coming on. You always, or like your audience is always super kind and you're my favorite. So
they absolutely love you. They absolutely love you. And just so that you guys know, I mean, Tiffany, in addition to being an unbelievable organizer and content creator in her own right, reaching millions upon millions every single month on her platforms, primarily TikTok, she is a private equity expert. She is knowledgeable about what is happening in terms of finance, Wall Street, and she's going to tell us what this really means for our 401k. She's also a small business owner who has battled private equity giants firsthand, and she is going to help us to unpack Blackrock's playbook and what they are seeking to do that is putting every American at risk. So, Tiffany, let's look at this video and just go from there. This is going viral. It's Larry Fink, CEO of Blackrock. He is a senior advisor to the President of the United States of America. He might as well be his co-president because they are attached at the hip. This is the epitome of a corporate collusion with the government. It is the definition of fascism. And we're seeing them become more and more brazen with the pump and dumps, the insider trading, the beneficial contracts. All of this infrastructure that they are building is literally creating this massive monster. You know all about it. But what was astounding was that Larry Fink actually said everything that you've been worrying about and that we've covered on this program. He actually said it. He said it to Greg Abbott in this fireside chat about—
when you have nothing to fear, why wouldn't you just say it out loud? You're going to get it. You're going to get whatever you want, right? You have nothing to fear. You're going to get whatever you want in this administration. You're going to get whatever you want. And why wouldn't he just say it out loud? I've been saying it for a year and a half and people called me a lunatic. And now he's like, yep, that's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing. Well, let's take a look at it. And then I'm gonna set you loose. Okay. We're going to unleash Tiffany in just a moment because I know she has a lot to say right now. But let's just get our blood boiling a little bit more because this is outrageous. Here we go.
Americans to think about growing with the United States. We will have far than enough money to invest in this infrastructure. But as the governor was talking about, the need for electrons is growing every day. Some of these, if we're going to be the leader in technology, which we are, if we are going to be the leader in AI, which we presently are, it's just going to require trillions of dollars of investments. And if we don't invest in it, China will be the global leader in this. And so to me, it's not whether, this is a must. And if you think about how that translates, it translates into a more dynamic economy. We need the United States economy to grow at over 2%. We need the U.S. economy to grow at 3%, especially with the growing deficits the federal government has. And so much of this money, not just the project, is going to be coming from the private sector, from savings accounts, from pension accounts, from insurance companies, and on and on and on. The whole world is in need of improving the infrastructure.
All right. So savings accounts, pensions, insurance, Tiffany Cianci, Larry Fink letting that nasty cat out of the bag. What are your thoughts on this?
So there's a lot to unpack because there's like 5 different like strip mining methods at play right now that they're counting on to build out this AI infrastructure. And some of it's related to like the Trump executive order. Some of it's related to the request that Thomas Massie just overturned in the Judiciary Committee. I've been doing a lot of research on data centers recently, and the health impacts are unknown. We don't have any long-term studies. The environmental effects and the microclimates that they create, we don't have any studies. Like they're building a data center 3/4 of a mile from my house.
Wow.
And one of the people that testified at our hearing said that a mile over our data center, it was going to be 68 degrees hotter than the air around it. And it might never snow at my house again. That's what I was told. It may never snow here again. Right? But where were all these tech bros when they were screaming about global warming? Where are they?
Right.
Where are they? I mean, a mile up, it's almost 70 degrees hotter, and you're telling me we're not warming? Like, where are the tech bros? Oh, they're pushing for this, right? Well,
that's insane.
Historically, when you look at any major infrastructure expansion, which is what this is going to require based on what they're calling for, we're talking about a complete overhaul of our entire electrical grid. And we're talking about the build out of these massive data centers that nobody is discussing being obsolete every 3 years. Every 3 years, they are obsolete. The chip life on a data center, by the time it's done being built, the original chips they ordered are out of date and they have to redo their inventory. It lasts 3 years, but most of them are being built out with 50-year payoffs, off books on off LLCs. Like Meta's down in Louisiana is a really great example. They're building like the 3rd largest data center in the United States right now. Mm-hmm. And they built a shell corporation and they attached all the debt for this build out to that shell corporation. And it has a 25-year payoff, even though it only has a 3-year shelf life. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
And they have no revenue to support it whatsoever. And they're spending like $200 billion. And they're not reporting it to any of their shareholder earning reports whatsoever. None, zero, right? Because it's a shell corp. And that's just a research and development project. And so nobody is seeing this just absolute flush of cash. But none of that even accounts for the infrastructure upgrades that we need as society to handle this type of increase in electrical flow. Historically, when you look back and you see massive expansions, you see railroads, you see freeways, right? You see the addition of telephone lines, you see the addition of fiber optics. You're talking about very large expenses that are funded by taxpayer dollars largely or by industry. And it's built on debt, but it gives you a return on your money for decades. Every time we've had a major infrastructure overhaul in the United States, we've received decades of return on that investment.
Right.
And so it always made sense as a society. These are valuable for 3 years. Now, anybody who knows me or knows what I do knows that I have several clients that are ethical AI companies that are looking to stop sort of what's happening.
Okay.
And when you look at what's going on right now, I don't know a single person that actually works in AI that believes this is a long-term successful strategy. Like the actual compute is going to be decentralized. It's going to be attached to computers. It's going to be attached to houses. It's going to happen on small boxes. The large language models now can already be stored on an external hard drive, some of them.
Okay.
And China is sort of pioneering that because they have open sourced all of their development, all of it. Which
wait, let me slow you down. Let me slow you down there. The compute, you're saying, does not need, 5,000 Manhattan-sized data centers that are going to suck up all the energy and the water and poison the people who live around them, that we don't even need that. The AI experts that you're talking to, the tech experts that you're talking to say that's not even necessary. So that leads me to believe, I've been talking to Daniel Horowitz about this, and he's been doing some really great reporting on his show. I highly recommend Strident Conservative, or not Strident Conservative. Daniel Horowitz is the Conservative Conscience, and he broadcasts every day. He's been saying, and Ed Dowd just actually mentioned this as well, that this might be more of a land grab and a control grab than anything else. Go ahead.
No, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. He's right. What we're talking, 90% of the data centers that are in production right now in the United States, there's 5,281 currently in production for the United States. Okay. And 90% of those data centers are fully speculative. They have no customers and no profit return model. And almost all of them are being funded by private credit markets and private equity. And those projects, the bottoms are falling out in real time because they started building them the same way you would speculatively build a real estate industrial park, right? Or that you would build out a real estate strip mall. And the real estate bros mesh with the tech bros and they're like, let's do this. Well, it's building this massive bubble that is impacting private credit, private equity, and the AI market. And so we have 3 bubbles that are all so overlapped at this point. The Venn diagram is a circle, okay? And when you're seeing what's happening, and you recognize they're grabbing water rights, they're grabbing farmland, they're consolidating and taking away our food sovereignty. But when you look at, let's just look at China for a minute, okay? China has 560 data centers, and they have the electrical grid to support it. They've been investing in infrastructure for the last 30 years. They've lifted hundreds of millions of people out of poverty through infrastructure development. We have let our infrastructure crumble, right? We don't reinvest in our infrastructure. And so when you look at what they're doing, they are open sourcing all of their AI, which means they have hundreds of thousands of people that are actually going to school and learning techniques, and they're putting the best ideas forward to decentralize their compute, to decentralize the development of the best models, to decentralize the best pathways to artificial general intelligence, right? So to AGI, right? And that's why they're winning. Whether anyone wants to talk about it or not, no one in America wants to. When you have hundreds of thousands of people and you get the best ideas and allow the cream to rise to the top, it's going to be better. Whereas in America, we've allowed 4 monopolies to look at us and go, give us all your data, which is the single most valuable resource on earth right now, by the way. Okay, give us all your data.
Who are those 4 monopolies?
We'll give you so you've got like Altman, right, which was supposed to be a nonprofit, by the way.
Sam
Altman.
Altman.
You got Altman, you got Thiel, you got
Peter
Zuckerberg,
Thiel.
you got Elon to a lesser degree, and then you've got Ellison who's trying to throw his hat in the ring. These are monopolists.
Yeah.
Okay. These are robber barons. These are strip miners. They are a cartel that have bought this administration. They're all buying as much power with crypto as they are with money, as they are with influence, as they are with lobbying. Right. And you've got these 4 or 5 tech bros that are walking in and going, give us all your data. And we swear to you, we will eventually get the right product. One of the 5 of us is going to find the best idea and we will make it profitable. We're gonna leverage every bit of debt available in the United States that could otherwise be going to small businesses and creating competition. We're gonna take all of the available dry powder in the United States. We're gonna operate at massive deficits. Like if you look at Anthropic right now, Anthropic is giving you for $100 a month what would cost $16,000 a month in compute.
Right.
$100 a month subscription, you're getting $16,000 worth of electrical consumption. That is not a sustainable model.
No,
it is not. And this is all being funded by private credit markets, which I've already been screaming the bubble is about to burst on, which is why there's a bailout that's being given to them right now. This is a huge problem. Every community in America should be rising up. And it's the same reason that we should be grateful to people like Thomas Massie when they're going out and they're killing these new bills that they're trying to force through Congress right now to grant immunity to AI data center developers.
That's right.
Like the Protect American AI Act. Protect American AI? No, protect AI from Americans. That's literally what it does.
Wow. And that's the immunity. So they're expanding the pharmaceutical style immunity or liability protections that pharma companies have for vaccines to AI companies. So if the data center comes to town and everyone gets poisoned and you all get cancer or everyone develops, neurodegenerative diseases because of the frequencies, whatever it is, you have no recourse. You can't sue, right? They're protecting the corporations from lawsuits, from regular Americans, and from any liability. And it's grotesque. And, one of the things that Trump promised through Bobby Kennedy Jr. was to address that, to strip away from the pharmaceutical companies those liability protections for vaccines. Not only did they keep in place the liability protections for vaccines, but they are now expanding those to big chemical, big tech, AI, and big data center. So let's slow down a little bit. I do want to get to, we need to get to the warning to every American about their pensions and their retirement funds, because he said it, your savings account, your pension, your 401k, and insurances. I want to get into how exactly they are going to plunder people's accounts and bankrupt people if they can get away with this, with the help and the protection of the federal government. Yeah. So essentially making theft legal, just in the same way they make murder legal by protecting companies who poison their customers and can never be held accountable for it. They are now, through the Trump administration, through executive orders, the big beautiful bill, and other executive actions, essentially legalizing the plunder and the theft and the takeover. And even like with the land grabs, they're using eminent domain to go in and take some of these properties. So, but I want to talk about AI with you a little bit more though, Tiffany, because many will say, and I agree with this, I don't believe that anything artificial, this whole AGI thing and the artificial intelligence is going to become sentient and more brilliant. I mean, look at this clip. This is what I want to go through this one, what Sam Altman had to say about our children and our children's future. Let's take a look at this clip.
A kid born today will never be smarter than AI, ever. And a kid born today, by the time that kid like kind of understands the way the world works, will just always be used to an incredibly fast rate of things improving and discovering new science. They will never know any other world. It will seem totally natural. It will seem unthinkable and Stone Age-like that we used to use computers or phones or any kind of technology that was not way smarter than we were. We will think like how bad those people of the 2020s had it.
Unbelievable. He goes on to say that they're going to steal all of the super intelligence of all the humans, right? They need humans to create the intelligence, okay? But the intelligence is going to become more intelligent than the humans. Oh, and Sam Altman and all his tech bros are going to take all of the intelligence, tokenize it, keep it to themselves, and then sell it back to us, right? In order now, and this is why we have Democrat congresswomen coming out and saying, oh, we need to tax the intelligence now because that's going to be the new tradable commodity or whatever it is. But I'm not buying that. And it's evidenced by the fact that none of these AI companies are making any money. None of them. Everything that we're seeing in Wall Street, the $51,000, Dow is all based on this, circular trading with printed money that's stolen from the Americans. So the government is printing money, which is creating inflation, which is a massive tax on every American. Then they're giving that printed money to their favorite corporate cronies and their tech bros. And then the tech bros are just passing it around to each other and keeping things off the books and pretending like they're making money, but they're not. Now, that's not to say I don't like AI. I don't think that there's some value to AI and where it goes. But Tiffany, it's never going to replace humans. No. I mean, come on, your thoughts.
So there's a couple things. First of all, again, I work with a bunch of AI people that are very, very high up in that echelon of system. And no, AI does not replace humans. Every single job in the last year and a half that's been attributed to loss of a job for AI has been immediately regretted when the people at companies realize the compute costs more than the human did.
Yes, it does.
Right? You see people that were NVIDIA is a fun example. They replaced a bunch of their coders with AI and it cost them a 40% increase.
Wow. But that's a huge statement you made. The compute costs more than the human.
And that's while the compute is still being subsidized. When the subsidy comes, when the wheels come off, what happens, right? So when you look at what we're actually talking about, whether the value of intelligence, you have to understand there's about 4 ways they're about to rob all of us blind. Our 401ks are going to be strip mined in 2 different ways over the next 6 months. If we don't do a lot of work, really heavy lifting right now. There's a lot of infiltration through the SEC, through the NASDAQ, through the Dow, and through this administration and the Department of Labor to strip mine all of our 401ks. And when you see that AI, you have to understand the entire stock market right now is being propped up by this circular reinvestment bubble. Okay. Right. NVIDIA has a vested interest in saying we're going to need more and more chips, right? AMD has the same need. AWS needs us to need more cloud because more cloud means their data center build outs are necessary. Then you've got Meta, who's investing $200 billion in a project they're cooking off the books that needs those chips and needs that data center and needs AWS cloud compute. And so they're saying we're going to keep doing it. And then we've got Altman, who's all in on $2 trillion right now with no viable profit model on the horizon whatsoever. The only profit model he had was making stupid videos and memes with Sora, and it flopped in under 6 months and wasted hundreds of billions of dollars in the process.
Wow.
The App Store, it's gone. Okay. Their first product flopped flat. Okay. And so these people are all in, but so is our entire stock market. The entire thing, because every other company is not doing very well. We have not seen any growth. The NASDAQ is only artificially propped up by all of the fake money that's being pumped into the private credit markets.
7 or 8 tech companies.
JP Morgan, and then pumped into these private credit givers, which, by the way, JP Morgan just halted lending on that, by the way, because they're worried about the bubble too.
Interesting.
Right? So you're seeing this bubble of people that have to say we need all this. If they don't make us dependent on them, their model does not exist.
Right.
Because right now, again, we're paying $100 a month for $16,000 worth of compute. Now, what that translates to is a horrifying problem on the horizon because we have 3 of these companies right now that are going to IPO. All right. We have SpaceX, which has Grok contained in it, right? That's looking for a $1 trillion valuation with literally $18 billion in profit. All right. Then you have Anthropic and you have OpenAI, all looking to IPO right now. OpenAI seeking a $1.4 trillion valuation, I believe, and Anthropic's looking for $1.8 trillion. Those three valuations, if achieved, will immediately move them into the Magnificent Seven without a single one of them ever having turned a profit.
Oh my word.
Now let's talk about what that means, because this is really, really important, okay? Recently, the SEC made a rule change that allowed the NASDAQ to put automatic admission to the Magnificent Seven and their the ETF index funds to anything that has $1 trillion or high dollar valuation, whether a profit model has been proven or not. In the past, there was an 18-month waiting period where we got to see how the stock performed after the initial buy-in at the high price. Because when you're buying in at the IPO, you're getting the highest price. And then we're going to see what the market determines as it moves, whether they actually turn a profit, whether they actually generate returns, whether stock buybacks happen, whether there are splits, right? So in the past, you always had to wait 18 months to achieve that index fund placement, all right? If these three companies that have no profitability whatsoever, that have $3 trillion in contractual obligations right now with no way to pay it back, that is propping up the entire stock market, automatically get that valuation, all of our 401ks, the index funds, will immediately have to start buying it as a part of the NASDAQ buying package, which means that our 401ks are going to bail out every one of these three IPOs. Now, there's a reason that they've been doing pre-IPO private offerings that have much more attractive guarantees on returns on your investment for accredited investors, because we privatize the gains of the IPO and then we socialize the risks to the plebeians and the working class to screw all of us to bail out their bad investment strategies over the last 5 years, right? If these IPOs are granted and these new SEC rules allow them to achieve that high valuation, once that happens, all of our 401ks automatically start buying in. And we have to go in and manually pull back on every index fund. But index funds are the baseline for all 401k investment in the United States, which brings me to the second strip mining method that is tied right into this.
Hold on one second. Let me ask this question. Why, before we get to that, because this is a heavy show, so I don't want to go through this too fast, because we have a lot of TikTokers watching and they're young, and we have a lot of people who are, not as well versed in all of this. Grok is Elon Musk. OpenAI is Sam Altman. Anthropic is, I don't know who that is, but we have these massive, highly valued corporations that are completely tethered to the federal government, and they are completely tethered to Trump. So there's no reason to think that they wouldn't get these beneficial SEC rule changes. I mean, they have been paving the way for these guys to plunder since the beginning of the Trump administration, starting with the Doge, by the way. So this has been, the Trump administration has literally just created, trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars worth of wealth for these companies by just taking apart every single barrier, every single roadblock to just full scale plunder. But my question for you is why do 401ks have to buy these? What I don't understand, why that exists and why they would have to buy them. Couldn't we just opt out of this?
So index funds have long been created to diversify the investment method for long-term gain strategies for retirement accounts. Okay. An index fund is a fund that looks at the market and it diversifies your dollar going in, and it might have 100 companies in that index fund. It could be a tech index. It could be an infrastructure index. It could be a utility index, right? And it'll take your dollar and spread your dollar of investment across 100 companies. So it might be a penny to each one, right? The problem is that AI and these three companies are in all of those indexes because you have utilities because of the infrastructure build out, right? You have tech, obviously. If they're in the Magnificent Seven, that is the entire tech ETF index, right? If you're looking at commodities, you're looking at the nickel, the lithium, the brass, whatever, all of the metals that go into building out these data centers, right? So every single ETF index fund genuinely is being now tied in to the success of three companies that are not profitable and have no profit model whatsoever. Right now, their biggest hope is that we keep going to war and they can get the government to make them profitable. That's literally that's their best hope right now. And meanwhile, over in China, they have 200,000 people working with these products to try to see what is actually profitable with the least amount of compute possible to make it the most valuable to companies. And they also just passed a law in China that it's illegal to fire a person to replace it with AI.
Interesting.
I'd like to point that out. You're not allowed to replace a job in China with AI. That can't be the reason.
It's
so
crazy.
You can use AI to make your workers more productive, which is a long-term strategy for the good and overall growth and GDP of a country to keep people out of poverty.
Right.
But you can't fire them for it.
Okay.
You can't just do it to serve your shareholders and the 19 billionaires that run your country.
Right. Interesting.
No, when we're looking at the land grabs, when we're looking at they're going to subsidize this with every one of our 401ks.
Okay.
And when these bubbles burst, and you don't look at a company that has $3 trillion in obligations and no profit model and go, yeah, great investment.
No.
Which is why they're forcing it into the index fund. And that's why the SEC had to make this rule, because nobody was going to buy. No one's buying this. But if they force it into the index funds, we're all forced to buy at the top.
Okay.
You're immediately forced to the top.
Crazy. We're going to get into what you guys can do to protect yourself after this. I mean, we're going to go there in a moment. What are the other ways that they're going to strip mine us? So you mentioned there are multiple ways. This is just one avenue to plunder. There are many avenues to plunder. What else are they planning on doing, Tiffany?
The other one is far more pressing. We have a very short window to try to stop it. So back in October, Trump issued an executive order that the private equity and private credit markets have been seeking for a decade. But no president, including him in his first term, was stupid enough to write it. Okay. What they wanted was an executive order that made it so your 401k could be invested into private equity and private credit. Now, the reason your 401k does not get invested into private equity and private credit is because their payment model, they use a fee structure called the 2 and 20 model, which means if you're not investing like 3 million or more, you're going to lose money no matter how well it performs, because they take such a large percentage of the gains.
Okay.
So 401ks don't have $3 million. 401ks, certainly not to invest in one investment, right? That if you did, you'd be in Roth IRAs or you'd be in like diversified, right? You're not doing this.
Right.
Okay. And so you're going to lose money no matter what. Trump was approached back in summer of last year, and I started screaming about this on your podcast and every other podcast, that he was about to write an executive order because the crypto bros, which is the largest lobby in DC right now.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
The crypto bros teamed up with private equity and said, we'll push if you push. Let's get this across. And the tech bros need the private credit markets to get this money, so they started pushing. And Trump, in October, issued an executive order. He called it the Democratizing Access to Investment in Your 401k executive order. And he wrote that he was giving us all access to the same strategies the billionaires use in their investment strategy, right? So he said, now you can start investing your 401k in private equity. And these are the three he gave us: private equity, private credit, and in crypto. Okay. Crypto bros were very happy. Sure. And he said that this executive order was giving us that. Well, the problem is we could always do that. It didn't do that at all. We have always been able to self-manage our 401k and invest it any damn way we please.
Right.
The problem is that in the past, every single time a fund manager had diversified a 401k group into private equity, they lost everything. And we have a set of laws in the United States called ERISA laws, ERISA. And those laws make it so if your fund manager recklessly invests your 401k,
right,
and they lose all your money, you can sue them in a class action settlement and take all of their holdings.
Oh my gosh.
And every single time that they had invested in your 401k in private equity or private credit, they lost their butts, they got sued, and so nobody will do it. Well, if you read this executive order that is democratizing our access and giving us this new access to the billionaire playbook, right? First of all, billionaires don't share their wealth. They socialize their risk. Okay.
That's right.
When he did this, if you look at the bottom paragraph in teeny tiny letters, you're going to see that it says, and I'm calling on the SEC and the Department of Labor to make it feasible for this investment strategy to take place. Okay.
Interesting.
Well, so immediately the SEC starts making all of the possibilities for the ETF roll-ups, and they issue that. They don't have the same waiting period. But the Department of Labor, which manages 401k investment, they have a rulemaking process they have to go through because they are a nonpartisan regulatory agency. And they start a rulemaking process to make it illegal for you to sue your fund manager if they lose all your money by investing it in private equity or private credit and granting them immunity.
liability protection for the fund managers who literally plunder and destroy wealth of the 401k holders. Unbelievable.
And right now,
okay,
that rulemaking process ends on Monday. We have
Okay.
3 days to try to stop it.
all right. What can people do?
There's a lot we can do. I don't know if you, I could screen share like what people can, it's not like always easy to do it.
Yeah, just give us an overview and a link to where people can go to get, active if they want.
So let me see if I can, I don't know how the Rumble Studio works. So let me see how to do this.
Well, no, don't try to do a screen share. Just tell us about it.
I was just going to put it in the comments. I think I can do that here.
You can do that. Yeah, you can put
because it's a very long link. Okay.
Okay.
Very long. So I just put it in the comments.
Okay, awesome.
So what happens is during a rulemaking process, they have to call for public opinion. Now we are up against some pretty strong headwinds because the crypto bros have convinced every crypto investor in the United States they could never invest their 401k with crypto when they absolutely could the whole time. And so they've been galvanizing everybody to come in and start writing letters saying, we support this process, we support this process, we support this process.
The bot and troll army.
Exactly. And nobody has understood at any point along the way that you could always do it. And this is stopping you from getting your money back if they lose your money doing it.
Okay.
This is the only protection Americans have. And this is not going to be the only thing this destroys. Like ERISA laws protect us from bad investment in all types of mechanisms. And what this new rule says is as long as your fund manager does moderate diligence, and does not define moderate, by the way, then they are prohibited from being sued in class action ERISA lawsuits for the loss of your investment.
Okay.
Well, you have to look at what that means. That could mean that these fund managers are out on yachts right now with a bunch of bros that are like, hey, bud, we've got an investment and we'll offer you 18% commissions if you invest your 401k bundle with us. And if he says, can you show me a prospectus, and he reads it, that could be moderate, investigation. And suddenly, because he went on that yacht and looked at a prospectus, you can't sue him when he invests all of your finances? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
It's crazy. It's crazy, Tiffany. But this is really complicated. Everything that you just laid out is incredibly complicated. And the American people need to know simply can they pull their money out of their 401k? Can they say, or can they move assets into a self-directed IRA where they can direct and control their investments themselves? That's what I'm thinking right now. I'm thinking, okay, yeah, let's go to the rulemaking page. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's stop this. This audience wants to know what they should be doing or what they could be doing right now. And this is not financial advice, but honestly, guys, but
this is taking action. I'm giving you a way to stop this. Okay. So the link that I just gave you guys is the federalregister.gov. Now, when you see a rulemaking process, it's going to take you to a screen, and on the top right corner, it says leave a comment. Now this link I've put over here, and I'm going to keep putting it in, and I'll send it to you, Shannon, for when you repost this on X.
Okay.
And I will repost it too if you guys can clip it for me. But when you go here and you click the green button that says leave a comment, you're going to go in here, and there are different ways you can leave comments. One, you get about 2,600 characters to leave a comment.
Okay.
And you can just do it in a little comment box like this.
Okay.
Second, you can attach up to 20 attachments. Okay. So if you want to write a long formal statement, if you want to have Grok write you a long formal statement, you do whatever you need to do. Okay. Yeah. You can attach it. Now, if you put in anything that's identifying, like my father's 401k lost its value 6 years ago to a bad investment, like this is so important. Anything that is identifying, if you say this is my employer and I don't get to choose how my investments are managed, I really need you to not do this. Automatically, it has to be screened by a human person, not AI. That's not legally allowed. It's statutized. And they have to block out and censor anything that identifies you. So you can feel free to speak freely.
Oh, interesting. So we could throw a ton of wrenches in their plan if enough. Do you have any type of infrastructure? Are there going to be people pushing out this link and pushing out what people can do very, very simply?
So it's the top link in my bio on every single social media platform. If you go to my bio, it's the very top one. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to leave a comment, and then there's 3 ways you can identify it. You can do it as an individual, as an organization, or anonymously. Okay. Now, I don't encourage anonymous. I really don't, because they need to know real Americans are arguing about this, okay? But what I can say is, let's say you're a Girl Scout leader, and your Girl Scouts are working on their smart money badge, and they want to do some research on this, and they find this is dangerous. Your Girl Scout troop could submit as an organization.
Right.
Do it.
Right.
Your Boy
Okay.
Scout troop could submit.
We only have 3 days though, Tiffany. That's my point. Like if we only have 3 days.
We have till Monday. We have
Okay.
until Monday at I think 6 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, you can literally just write the sentence, I do
I'll do
not
it.
support the enactment of this rule. I'm an American and I deserve the right to protect my 401k. Write that sentence, click send. Now, I will tell you, you need a different email address for each submission. And while I would never, ever suggest using multiple email addresses to submit multiple times, because that would be insane.
That would be insane.
It's feasible. Now, let's say that you're a person and you're a business owner and you have a 401k and you're a Girl Scout troop leader and you volunteer at your local Rotary Club.
Right.
You could submit as 4 organizations, 1 for the business, 3 for the volunteer issues, and you could submit as yourself.
Okay.
Each person in your family can submit. You can do it that simply, or you can be more specific. But immunity is only helpful to billionaires. I've never seen an industry that needed immunity that wasn't hurting people actively.
This is crazy. This is crazy. And they're building up, listen, I really, this is why, Catherine Austin Fitts talks very often about having cash, having physical gold, diversifying. I mean, land. Listen, if the billionaires are going for land, right? They are so into land right now that they have come up with this elaborate scheme to trick everyone to think that we need all the data centers and they need to be Manhattan sized in order for them to, execute all of the compute that is going to be necessary for the AI revolution. And they have to do it because those mean old Chinese are going to get to it first. And we have an AI arms race, blah, blah, blah. So these guys have gone to, such elaborate lengths to get the land. Like that should be a clue to all of us. Maybe we should hold on to our land.
You should assume too that they're not looking for the land. They want the water rights.
And they want the water rights. Exactly.
And they want food scarcity. Right. They want to control our food supply.
Yeah.
Because when they do that, they can force us to eat anything they want. Have you looked at how much AI compute is going to lab-grown cocoa right now?
Oh, I can't.
Over $3 billion of investment into lab-grown cocoa because we don't want to pay farmers fair trade wages.
Yep. Fearless Rose in USA. I agree, Shannon. Land. Cash in a safe, gold and silver, minimum amount in the banks for bills. I mean, I would say, listen, things are going to get kooky, Tiffany, we don't have a lot of time left, but just want to, the most important points, and then we have to go to break. I have to let you go. And we have another interview, speaking of the data centers, how data centers can impact your health, EMF radiation poisoning. We have an expert guest coming on. She's with the Satellite Phone Store, which is one of the sponsors of the Shannon Joy Show. But more and more Americans are going to have to start thinking about how to protect themselves from all of the things, 4G, 5G, 6G, 7G, and these data centers. If they succeed in getting some of them built, they're all going to have environmental and human impact. And that's going to be the interview that I'm going to run next. But I'll give you a couple more minutes, Tiffany, to close out. But crazy.
One thing, when you're talking about land grab, I want to demonstrate, first of all, Delaware's Chancery Court and their legislation often lays the groundwork for what everyone else follows to be business friendly. And most people aren't even paying attention to the fact that Delaware this week passed a new law, and it was upheld in court finally after 15 years of litigation, that if you own land, you now get votes commensurate to how much land you own in the state of Delaware. And now entities now get to vote based on how much land they are holding in public elections. For people, for legislation. This just happened this week. It's happened this week.
What?
Swear to God.
So Bill Gates comes to town, buys up 10,000 acres, and all of a sudden Bill Gates gets voting rights in your mayor election, your school board. Unbelievable.
When these tech bros tell us who they are, we should listen. Peter Thiel very blatantly said democracy was a problem. And if you could infiltrate the systems of government sufficiently to circumvent the voters, you could do anything you want. He said that publicly, blatantly, willfully, because he knows no one's going to stop him. They have just passed a law in the most powerful court in the United States that if you own land, you now get to vote with the same level of votership that you would have if you own the houses on that land.
That's insane.
That is insane. And every other state in the United States follows what Delaware does. This matters. This matters. Now, I'm going to stress over and over again, every single one of you needs to go submit comments. But the other thing that you guys have to do is if you have a 401k, if you have a parent that has a 401k, a child, a friend, a neighbor, you guys need to get active and involved. You need to see where that money is. You need to pull it out of index funds before these IPOs. You need to tell them to restrict index fund investment during the IPOs. You have got to go and file comments. We only have until Monday, and they've got a 3,000 comment crypto head start. We need to do work. Okay. Everyone needs to go do this. It's a 30-second process. every one of you has 30 seconds to protect this country and to stop giving immunity to billionaires. Like every one of you can help us do that. And this process is one of the most nonpartisan processes because all of the comments will be analyzed at the end and a nonpartisan external audit committee sends a report and they have to do what the American public says. This is one of the only things in government we still get to say and decide. And
so
we need to do it.
The crypto bros and the tech bros only have 3,000 comments. And, our little organization, our loosely knit creator organization of 30, 40 creators. I mean, we reach 40 million people a month. So I'll go out on social media today. Let's get some bullet points out. Let's get nice, easy links. And I will push the hell out of it all this weekend because everyone can spare 30 seconds to go in, leave a comment. At the very least, we're going to throw a lot of wrenches in their plans because if they have to put a human on every single comment that has an identifier or something that needs to be identified, well, then we could at least delay this for a very long time. So I think that's a great idea, Tiffany, and I'll be happy to help you in the organization this weekend, 3 days. Essentially, bottom line, it is liability protection for really bad or shady or corrupt or criminal 401k managers who can absolutely bankrupt their clients, destroy all of their wealth, and there's nothing the 401k holder can do about it. This is being put into law. This is being proposed by the President of the United States of America, supported by these lobbyists in these industries, and it's 3 days away from going into effect unless we stop it. So you're going to see.
You guys can find this link. It's the top link in my link tree at any of my social media profiles. So if you're on X, if you're on TikTok, if you're on Instagram, anywhere you go, you can find me. I'm at Tiffany Cianci on TikTok and on YouTube. You can find it there. I'm the Vino Mom on X and Instagram. You can find it there. It is my link, and it is the top link. And it's literally a 30-second process, guys. You can do this. We can do this. We can stop.
We can do this. We can do this. And I'll put together a nice pithy tweet, and we'll push it out, and we'll get everyone going because I'll do that this weekend. I'll do it after the show today. Okay, you're the best, Tiffany. She is on Twitter. Her handle is at the Vino Mom, and also, of course, on TikTok. And we're up over 10,000 views on TikTok, so that's awesome. Amazing, Tiffany. How can people find you? And last 30 seconds.
I'm at tiffanycianci.com. I'm on all of the social media platforms I just gave out. And I will stress, I've already done this before, and we passed 2 rules at the FTC. I've done this. We can do this, guys. We can stop this. You just have to show up for 30 to 60 seconds. That's all you have to do. And we can have a say. I've done it twice in the last year. Let's do it.
This is why I say she's a badass organizer. I mean, Tiffany's the woman. We saw what she could do in Kentucky, which just blew me away. All right. So when Tiffany rings the alarm and says, "Hey, let's go," often it's time to go. So this one, you don't have to drive to Kentucky to do this one. You can spend 30 seconds and tell all your friends and families about it. I'll start clipping all of this, and we'll push some of these clips out as well, Tiffany. Okay.
I put the link in the studio chat, and you can put it into the general chat. I think I can't, but I will go into the Rumble studio, and I'll do it as soon as I drop.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Thank you so much for all of your work. We'll have you on again soon. Okay.
Thanks for having me, Shannon.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, guys, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. We'll be back in a minute right here on the Shannon Joy Show.
This is Jennifer with darkbags.com. I wanted to show you one of our newest products from Escape Zone. This is our satellite Faraday sleeve. So it actually will fit your satellite phone, which we've noticed that there wasn't any product on the market that perfectly fit them, so we decided to make them ourselves. And it has this Velcro closure right here to close it up, and that makes this dust and water resistant. So what's nice about this Faraday pouch is that it'll protect against any EMPs. So your device your emergency device actually will always be protected in here as long as it stays in here. You can take it out for everyday use, but if you're not using it, we recommend that you store it in here. Again, this is available on darkbags.com.
Please head over to theshannonjoy.com, theshannonjoy.com. This is my independent platform. It is my website. I own it. And the email list that I have created with all of you, those of you who have signed up for the Shannon Joy daily email, it is so important. It's the most critical element in terms of my connection to all of you. Should I be deplatformed on YouTube or Twitter or Rumble or any of the platforms that we are pushed out on today, it is my one line to all of you. It's where I can contact you directly and let you know where to find the show. I will never forget the censorship of 2020. I was permanently suspended on Twitter. I was completely shadow banned on Facebook. I lost the entirety of both audiences in the span of 30 days. In the early days of the Shannon Joy Show, I was completely yanked off of a radio station because I continued to critique Donald Trump, and it was a right-wing radio station. Overnight, I lost my entire platform. Thank God 10 years ago, or was 8 years ago, I had built up a presence on Twitter and Facebook and was able to continue the show until I moved it to another platform, a 50,000 watt radio station just down the road. But I am very familiar with being deplatformed and it happening very fast. That email list is everything. It is my pipeline to all of you. So if you haven't signed up for the SJ email list, please do so today. Go to theshannonjoy.com. That is theshannonjoy.com, and make sure that we're connected. Welcome back, everyone, to the Shannon Joy Show. As always, Tiffany Cianci, very eye-opening interview. She knows her stuff. We only got to 2 of the ways, actually, that they are going to come after your retirement, your savings, your 401k, your pension. And they even, I didn't get to ask her about the insurance aspect. Like, how are they going to plunder the United States of America and our citizens through insurance? I don't know what that scheme is, but we'll have to have her on again. Bill Benz with thank you to Tiffany. Fearless Rose in USA, great to see you on Rumble. I want to go to all of you on the live chat and say hello to all of you. See it as it is, great to see you. CJP Rumble, great to see you as well. Mod Trend, I see this comment. Shannon, I wish you would talk about the deal that Trump made for him and his family getting guaranteed to not be audited by the IRS for life. No way, Mod Trend. I didn't even know that. That's insane. Well, did you see this one? Trump is now going to be, he is commissioned. This is insane. Insane. The Washington Post reporting breaking news. The Trump administration has now officially pressed the Bureau of Engraving and Printing to design a $250 bill featuring the president's portrait in what would be the first appearance of a living person on a U.S. currency in more than 150 years. This guy is insane. He is power hungry, on a power trip. I mean, this is the other aspect. Where was this story? Trump is now officially come out saying that he doesn't care about the midterms at all. He's not concerned about the midterm elections at all. And that should make people kind of nervous, because it looks to me, these guys are on a major power grab. And he's doing this with the tech bros. This is why they're building this infrastructure, this facade of an infrastructure, which is actually a land grab. This is from remarks just in. President Trump says, quote, "I don't care about the midterms." Maybe that's because he's fixing to declare a war on something and try to cancel the elections. Bookmark that, guys, because I don't think people are concerned enough about this criminal organization that has taken over the White House. Now, listen, the Democrats, they've done it before too. Okay, we were critical of the Obama administration, critical of the Biden administration, critical of the Bush administration. I mean, we have been equal opportunity critics here in the Shannon Joy Show of criminals in Washington, D.C., of every flavor, whether it's left or right. But what we are seeing now from this administration, the Trump family, MAGA, and their connections to big bankers, big tech, and massive corporations is frankly breathtaking. We've never seen anything like this, ever. And the fact that this is being cheered by right-wing news media, and they're begging for a king, Benny Johnson, admonishing his audience for questioning the power and the authority of the King Trump, demanding that they pledge fealty. He said, "Hail Trump, hail the king." he's the king. That was Benny Johnson in a clip recently. One of the many, many, many propagandists that is carrying water for this criminal sociopath that is occupying the White House right now. Unbelievable. I've never voted for a Democrat in my life. People are going to call me liberal. Up until a couple years ago, for 30 years, I voted Republican. I mean, it's crazy. Skill for Lark, good to see you. Hey, Tiffany, thank you for the Federal Register link that is in the live chat. Notes now. Appreciate you, Tiffany, and everybody loves you. What else do you guys have to say? Do you have any questions, any comments? I mean, you had a lot to say during the interview. I missed a lot of it. General Patton, yes, Tiffany is incredibly sharp. Doesn't make sense to strip people of their wealth. Who buys the consumer goods? Well, Wanimal, and that's a comment on the live chat. That's a short question that has a long answer. And you're right. It doesn't make sense. For thousands and thousands of years, the elites, rich elites, and the people who kind of own everything while we own nothing, they, have to tolerate humanity because humans were always able to provide them with things, either, their servitude or their land rents back in, the days of kings and queens and landed gentry and that type of thing. Then with the Industrial Revolution, obviously, and, they needed, or in the agricultural revolution, they needed humans to work the farms and work the land and build things. Industrial Revolution, they need, humans to do the work and run the machines and build the roads and the highways and the bridges and all those type of things, the power grid. In recent years, they need humans to consume things. They need us to buy things, products and investments and food and water and all those things. So, the rich elites have always needed humans to do certain things so that they could maintain their lifestyle and their power and their wealth. And so as of, recently, in terms of capitalism, they need us to buy things, consumer goods, which was Wanimal's question. The philosophy now, like if you dig deep into technocracy and what the technocrats are actually saying, people like Elon Musk, who is a technocrat, it is an ideology and it's a godless, demonic ideology. But in their discussions, Curtis Yarvin has written about this, and in some of their propaganda that they put out, they talk about, at least with each other, the fact that with the revolution, the AGI and the AI revolution and supercomputers and robots taking over everything, like literally doing everything, they won't need humans anymore to do the things that they need to do to maintain their wealth and privilege and status, right? So they take everything. We're in the middle of a plunder right now. They are crashing our economy, manipulating the economy, and they are simultaneously going out and using this data center build out and the AI arms race with China to justify it. It's an emergency. But so right now they're looking at or trying to take all of the land, all of the water rights, and just own everything. And then when they have everything, they don't need humans anymore. Well, then I suppose we just die off. Maybe we all starve to death, or we live in ghettos and big cities. I don't know what it is. They don't care, though. I mean, they think that they don't need humans anymore, and they won't need humans anymore. And so with that philosophy, then you can understand why some of the craziest among them would be completely fine with just utter destruction of all human wealth in general. It's crazy. It is just insane. It's insane. They'll drain the wetlands too, says CJP Rumble. Well, that's not the only thing that we have to worry about, by the way, with these data centers. This next interview that I conducted with Marcia Blanco, she is the sister of Tina Blanco, and she's amazing. And we're talking about these data centers, the build out, 5G, 6G, 7G, they're even talking about, which is just crazy. All of this has human impact, and we need to be protected. We had a very lengthy discussion about, it's about 15, 20 minutes with Marcia about what it means, what these data centers, if they're built in your backyard, what it's going to mean for all of you. And what does it mean in terms of health impact and how can you protect yourself? So I'm going to run that interview in just a minute, but I do want to quickly have a conversation with you about all of the craziness in the news and just how to prepare. You guys know that for me, this is why my sponsors and my advertisers really are all about preparedness. Satellite Phone Store is, I mean, anything from a blackout, brownout, natural disaster, the zombie apocalypse, an alien invasion, World War III, you name it, right? The Satellite Phone Store has everything that you need for an emergency situation. So solar panels, generators, satellite phones. They have Faraday technology, Faraday bags and beanies. They have Go bags, which are amazing. Everything that you need to be prepared is at the Satellite Phone Store. Sat123.com/joy is my link. And every time you use the Joy promo code JOY, you're going to get 10% off. So there is preparedness there. And preparedness brings peace. You know, what we're really battling in terms of all of these things, all of these issues is fear. They're trying to generate fear, instability, and really, you know, frighten us into allowing them to take over everything. And so being prepared actually obliterates fear. And if we aren't fearful, then there's nothing they can do to us, right? A lot of this is a facade. So, you know, being prepared financially, again, we talked yesterday with Peter Schiff. If you guys do not have a gold and silver strategy, if you haven't looked at moving, you don't have to move all of it, but moving some of your savings into your own personal, you control it, IRA that is backed by gold and silver, or really anything that you want to back it with, right? Then I think you might be missing the boat. This is a decision for each and every one of you, but you could be at risk. And as Tiffany mentioned in our interview, you have got to get involved with your pension, who's running your pension, with your 401k, who's running your 401k, and where those funds are invested. And if you can, you need to explore the option of moving some of your retirement into physical gold and silver. You can, you know, there are certain IRAs out there that you can even invest in land. You can invest in private companies. There are a lot of ways for you to independently take control of your funds in your retirement. And I guarantee that an average investor could probably do a better job than some of the criminals that are running them today. So we're super thankful, obviously, for our sponsors over at Shift Gold. And then, you know, at the wellness company, I was just looking into the emergency medical kit, and it's basically amazing. You know, whether we never know when the next, you know, super virus is going to come, or if some type of bioweapon is going to be deployed, or you just have a natural disaster and you don't have access to life-saving drugs, you want to have that wellness company emergency medical kit. Now, it isn't just a basic first aid box. It is a comprehensive doctor-formulated kit packed with life-saving prescriptions and medications to handle over 30 common emergencies like infections, injuries, respiratory issues, and more. It also includes treatments and prescriptions like ivermectin that, as we know, the experts tried to keep from you during the last crisis. So hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, sometimes they become hard to get in a pre-planned pandemic, right? So this is your peace of mind in a portable case with clear step-by-step guides from top doctors like Dr. Peter McCullough. So you'll work with a medical doctor to get all of the prescriptions filled. They're going to put it all in that emergency kit, and they're going to send it to you. The entire process takes about a week from beginning to end. So this is your opportunity to prepare for any type of situation with the Wellness Company Emergency Medical Kit. So don't wait until it's too late. Head over to twc.health/joy. That is twc.health/joy, and use that promo code JOY. You are going to get 10% off your order plus free shipping. And sometimes they have extra goodies for the Shannon Joy audience. So make sure you use the JOY promo code every time you shop at the Wellness Company. Again, twc.health/joy. That is twc health/joy. Okay, we are going to go now to my discussion. I conducted this interview with Marsha Blanco last week, who is an expert on the impact of EMF on the human body, and particularly what does it mean when these data centers come to town? If we don't stop them, some of them are going to make it their way through. What is the impact on your family, your community, and your health? And how can you protect yourself? So we're going to watch that now. When we come back, we're going to close out the Shannon Joy Show. So keep it tuned right here. I'll say goodbye before we end the show. All right, here we go. Let me find it. Hold on. There it is. All right. Here we are now with a special report on data centers and their impact on your body and your health. We're joined today by Martha Blanco. She is an expert in telecom and EMF radiation, special guest on the Shannon Joy Show. She's the sister of one of our favorite guests, Tina Blanco, who is the founder and CEO of the Satellite Phone Store. And they feature some of the best EMF radiation blocking technology, apparel, and bags in the country. So happy for our partnership with the Satellite Phone Store. But Martha, welcome to the Shannon Joy Show today for the first time. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. So I wanted to have you in to talk about EMF radiation, 6G, 7G, the build out of these data centers. The Trump administration is warp speeding, unfortunately, data center build outs. So this is 7G expansion, 6G expansion. This is for artificial intelligence, satellites, and dominance over China in the name of winning the AI arms race. And this has residents across the United States of America raging against it. We're seeing one town hall after another as Americans question the safety of these data centers and this race to expand these types of technologies. Now, you are an expert in this matter, Martha, and I just wanted to get your sense first on where you are, what is going on currently with this rapid expansion, and what are your biggest concerns about this in terms of the health of the American people and their children as we grapple with the types of injuries and illnesses that could come from some of these technologies?
I mean, it is a big concern. Unfortunately, there's not much that we can do to prevent it. I mean, with AI just rapidly advancing comes the need for more and more bandwidth. And so in order for us, to stay at the head of the game, to, be the front runner and have our country be, number one, so to speak, it's important that we stay up with technology. So I get that. I understand that. But with that, comes ramifications. We're talking about, radiation that is potentially affecting not just us as adults, but our children, our grandchildren, unborn, children as well. And so the best thing to do, I think, because we can't stop the government from moving forward, and we need to move forward, and we understand that. But at the same time, it's important to take precautions. And so, here at Escape Zone, we've created some really great products that help with the protection, not just for adults and not just for data, but we're talking even protection for our children. We have some really great blankets. These are, cotton blankets. They're infused. Let me just lift this up. They're infused with with silver and copper.
Okay.
And so what it does is it really helps to block that those EMF rays and protect the children. You can put it on your lap. You can, wrap your babies in them. We also have these really cool little beanies. They come in adult sizes and children's sizes. My daughter just had a baby about a month ago. And so we got the baby a little beanie because she's always doing her posts and her podcasts. We got her a blanket.
Sweet. Nice.
So that way the baby is protected while Mama Bear is, doing her work. And so I think it's fantastic. Another great thing, because with technology comes, the eye watches and what happens is because that is on your wrist, you're just 24/7. Some people even sleep with it on. What's happening is that you're having that radiation or go right into your wrist. And people are complaining about pain or, lumps and things like that. And so we've developed these really cool little wristbands. They're cotton, the same technology inside, with the silver and the copper infused, and it blocks those rays. It blocks that radiation. The only bad thing about it, if you want to look at it as a bad way, is that it's not able to monitor your heart while you're wearing the wristbands.
Right.
But, you don't need to monitor your heart 24/7. It's not good for you anyway. So what you want to do is you want to just, if you need to go for a run or you're going to work out, you take it off so you can monitor your heart while you're doing your strenuous activity. But the cool thing about it too is not only is it blocking the bad, but it is also, helping with the blood flow. And most people put their watches on their wrist, on their left side, and that's the side that goes straight to the heart.
Wow.
And so the silver and the copper, what that's doing is that's promoting better circulation to your. And so we're basically turning something bad into something good, which is pretty cool.
Well, that is definitely wonderful news, right? That there is that technology out there to combat a lot of the bad stuff that's happening. But I would say, we have now seen in just the past 12 months, over half of the data center projects either completely canceled or postponed because of people's concerns about the environmental impact and also the health impact in their communities. So I think that there's a balance there. And I definitely think there is a lot of discussion about even the necessity of 6G and 7G. What do we really need that for? It isn't helping humans. It isn't helping our speed in terms of the internet or our wireless connections. And so I think that there really is a place there for pushback. And we've been following that on the Shannon Joy Show very closely, working with groups across the country to combat the expansion of these data centers and the expansion of 6 and 7G because it's very damaging. In fact, just recently, HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Publicly highlighted what he called the horrendous and grave neurological and cancer risks from EMF radiation, specifically calling out the explosion of high-capacity data centers needed for AI and advancing wireless networks. So he has referenced his past litigation. He has forced the FCC to revisit 1996 era safety standards, which is good. And he's also cited over 10,000 studies on chronic exposure effects like blood-brain barrier permeability, and also other areas, cancers, fertility, microwave syndrome from radio frequency, and even responses to vibrations from coming from those centers in noise and light. So I would love it if you could really expand on from your capacity and from your expertise, where are the areas of health impact should people be concerned about with some of these data centers? And then we can get into some more of the products that you guys offer over at the Satellite Phone Store. By the way, guys, sat123.com/joy is my landing page. So this company they love the Shannon Joy Show audience. Every time you shop, if you use that promo code JOY, you are going to get not only a special deal if you go to my page, but also 10% off your entire order. And for some of the higher ticket items, that is a huge discount. So sat123.com/joy, sat123.com/joy. But yeah, let's talk about these health impacts: cancer, fertility issues, like I mentioned, microwave syndrome, and also studies showing that tumors in animals growing when exposed to some of these types of frequencies. Talk to us about what you've learned and your expertise there, because I have 3 kids. I know you have kids and grandkids. There's only so much a blanket can do. There's only so much that the protection can do. I think that, there are other areas that people just need to be aware of so that they can protect their families.
Absolutely. And I think it's more than just one thing that we can do, right? Because again, the government is going to move forward. There isn't a whole lot that we can do. We can protest, we can do research, we can do development, we can do tests, but at the end of the day, they're going to do what they want to do, right? And
Well,
so,
no, not always. That's
well, not,
a
not
big point of
always.
my show is advocating for people to, and
Yeah,
like I mentioned, we've stopped 50%
that's
of
incredible,
these. Yeah.
actually. That
Yes.
is absolutely phenomenal. And I
Yeah.
think if we all band together as a one unit,
Right.
that's when we can make a difference. Because if they're, if we're all just kind of, doing our own thing rather than
Right.
banding together, then it's just noise.
Yeah.
But when you band together as one unit, as a team, the way your audience has done, I mean, that's absolutely incredible. And that's what we want to encourage. We want to encourage people to keep speaking out, to
Yeah.
keep talking about the things. But we also want to encourage you to, find ways to be safe in your homes and in
Right.
your vehicles,
Yeah.
right? And so, one of the things that I always recommend is because you mentioned fertility, and I think it's really important because a lot of people, especially like the men, they like to put their cell phone in their front pocket.
Oh my gosh.
Women will sometimes put it in their back pocket or in their bra,
Right.
and what's happening is I'm going to bring out my cell phone is, all of the EMF that's coming off the cell phone, it's causing it's it's contributing to breast cancer. I mean,
Right.
tests have shown if you can look it up and you can see that it contributes to breast cancer. It contributes to sterility, specifically in men, low sperm counts. And Escape Zone has come up with this really great little cell phone carrier where you can put your cell phone inside here. It has two sides to it. There's a black side and then there's a navy blue side.
Okay.
The navy blue side you want to wear out, towards away from you. So
Right.
that way you can still get your cell phone calls, you can still get your text messages. But the dark side, the black side, this side is protected with that same copper and silver that I was telling you about earlier. So
Okay.
body, it fits in your pocket and you can still, you can still take it out and put it back in very easily. And it really helps to reduce the effects of sterility uh,
Right.
in
Mm.
both men and women.
It's
So
horrible.
yeah, highly recommend. We also have, these really cool bags that also have that protection. We have backpacks as well, because, you can drop them in. And if you want to disappear from the earth and you don't want anyone to track you, not that you're doing anything wrong, but,
Right.
but hey, I mean, sometimes I just don't want anyone to know where I'm at for a few
Well,
hours.
yes. I like to say that they do double duty. Not only do they
Yes,
protect you from your phones, but they in the EMF radiation, but they also protect your privacy and you
yes,
from the government or anyone who would like to snoop in on you to track you using your device. So, and privacy is becoming, I was going to ask you about that because privacy is becoming more and more important to so many Americans as we witnessed the build out of these data centers, drone technology, flock cameras, which by the way, I love. We're seeing more and more videos of people, not just in Great Britain and the UK, but also in the US, who are literally taking down the flock cameras. Like they're like taking an axe to them and knocking them down, which I just think is hysterical. Those are some of, they call them blade runners in Great Britain, and it cracks me up. They're hilarious. But, people think that it's just a little one off. Towns and villages are having an impossible time keeping these flock cameras up because these blade runners come in and just take them down. So I think we're right in the middle of this battle, but the privacy issue is really, really important. And, they can track you with your phone, your device, an iPad, or even your laptop. And some of the backpacks that you guys have, the ballistic bulletproof backpack is great. I sent my son, my college age son, down to college with that. Also stocked up with a little bit of a go bag in case, the zombie apocalypse or an alien invasion or whatever it is. But if he needs to get home fast and he needs, all of the tools, I have that stocked up for him in that ballistic bulletproof backpack. But yeah, I mean, there are some great devices that protect people's privacy, which I love.
Absolutely. You mentioned the backpack. I mean, it's so important to to talk about this safety for our children. I always say that if you wait, it's typically too late. So it's better to be proactive. It's better to be prepared. It's better to need it. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. And so, here's that backpack that you were talking about. It has the bulletproof plate. Now,
Wow.
inside, it has enough space. So if you wanted to purchase a second plate to have added protection, you could definitely do that. And it's really sad that we have to recommend these for students, for children of all ages. But, we're seeing all around the country, shootings in the schools and
Yes.
forth. And this is a great way to have additional protection for our children.
Right.
Not only that, a lot of the schools, they don't want kids taking their cell phones into class, and they're keeping them. And I mean, I can't say that I agree with kids taking their cell phones to school, but it is nice to have something in case of an emergency. So these backpacks also have a Faraday pouch where you can
Nice.
put the cell phones inside. So they're not going to receive text messages. They're not going to receive calls. They won't be on it. But if there's an emergency and they pull their cell phone out, well, now they can make a phone call,
Right.
and now they can receive a message, and they can let their family members, know that they're okay. And I think that's really important.
It is important. And I was actually shocked because here in New York State, in my kids' school districts, the schools actually ban the phones. The kids are not allowed to have phones during the school day. They don't take the phones, so it's not like, they have to turn their phones in before they get into the school and they go to class. But if anyone sees them with a phone out, it gets confiscated, which I think it's great. I'm kind of like, if there's an emergency, they can call home. I mean, I went to school. I mean, my gosh, we all went to school every day without cell phones when we were growing up. And I think it's just such a huge distraction for the kids when they're at school. So I was kind of thankful for that. But what a great idea to, pop that phone into a Faraday pouch or into the Faraday pocket of their backpack. And, that's going to make sure that they're not distracted by it, but it's also going to be ready there for them in their locker if they need something. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, we never know when an emergency is going to happen.
Right.
So, in all honesty, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Absolutely, absolutely, and just the idea of that they can carry a backpack that can protect them is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. What other types of Faraday protection are you working on? I know that Tina is always working on something new and something interesting, and there are new technologies coming out that are expanding outside of even pouches and clothing and backpacks and bags, which is exciting. What are you excited about on the horizon in terms of the technology? Because I agree with you in this sense. We're going to stop a lot of it. We are. I believe that we will. But that doesn't mean that there isn't going to be some type of expansion, and that we aren't going to see some data centers in some places, and we aren't going to see more and more these issues of EMF radiation around our bodies and around our spaces. So what's on the horizon, do you think, in terms of the technology and also healing from EMF and EMF poisoning?
Sure, absolutely. Before I get into that, though, I do want to share a really cool pillowcase that.
Oh, yes.
So this is a really nice cotton pillow. It also has the same technology that I was mentioning earlier.
Wow.
The cotton infused on the inside. So when you go to sleep at night, it is promoting better blood flow to your brain. It's protecting your brain against EMF. And
Wow.
you get the best sleep. And if you combine this with the blanket, I'm telling you, you'll have the best sleep of your life. Have we sent you a pillowcase yet?
No, not the pillowcase. No, you have to send me the pillowcase. But I do wear the beanie. It's like my little nightcap. I wear, I put on my little nightcap because, honestly, listen, we're out and about all day. Clearly, I can't wear my nightcap here on the show every day. I have to do my hair and like look like a normal human being. It's a cute little beanie, but you can't wear it all the time. And so, but just the idea that for the 7 or 8 hours of sleep that I get a night, that my brain is being protected from all of those EMF frequencies. It's giving it a break, it's giving it a rest so that the healing can happen, is something that gives me a lot of peace of mind. And I'm going to tell you, I haven't, I use all of the products, not the pillowcase, so I definitely want to try the pillowcase. But yeah, thank you so much. But no, that is, it gives me so much peace of mind to know that that healing and that break is happening every single night. So I love the beanies. They're amazing. They have them in all different colors. They have a white, black, gray, and I'm not sure what else you have. Usually they're, she's launching new products, but that's amazing. The pillowcase. That's awesome.
It's super cool. And then one of the new things kind of on the horizon is, there's been a lot of research and development done on, on ways to not only, shield against EMF, but there are ways to kind of reverse some of the damage. And so we're working on some things and partnering with the research and development company that has developed a technology and it's a wearable that can help to kind of reset your cells and remind them how to heal itself. So if your body's been exposed, which we've all been exposed and are continuously being exposed, but it's a way to kind of reset those cells, remind them how to heal themselves. And yeah, so that's something that's on the horizon. So we're really excited about that too.
That is super, super exciting. And I've seen a lot. In fact, I have to have an expert on. There are companies now doing mitigation in the home. So devices you can clip onto your wires, devices you can clip onto your routers, like all types of, that change the frequency, right? So they take that really erratic, crazy frequency, and when it hits the device, it shakes it up and then turns it into a natural frequency, which I just find absolutely fascinating. So I think that, like any type of technological advancement or industrial advancement, right? As humans, we grapple with the human impact, the environmental impact. We have to find that balance as to, where can we land where we're enjoying the benefits of these type of technologies, but not having to deal with the negative impacts. And I think we're going to get there. I think that, I'm just seeing an explosion in that space and it's not even, it used to be, if you talked about EMF or EMF frequency or EMF radiation poisoning, people looked at you like you were wearing a tinfoil hat. And it was like, you just couldn't even have a conversation about it. It's mainstream now. It's just mainstream. The technology is mainstream. And, companies like yours, Tina and the folks over at the Satellite Phone Store, they were on this and perfecting these products way before it went mainstream. This is why I trust them for all of my EMF protection products. Again, Satellite Phone Store. It's sat123.com/joy. That is sat123.com/joy. And make sure that the full line is there and all of the new products and amazing discounts when you use the JOY promo code. So Martha, a couple minutes left. People can find you, by the way, if you want to follow Martha Blanco. Her website is I Am Martha Blanco, and she's on all of the platforms. So Facebook, Instagram, you name it. But anything else you want to tell the audience before I let you go as we close?
Yes. So there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot of controversy about why we need these data centers. And, part of it is they say that we need the redundancy. Well, I wanted to share, the Iridium 9555 satellite phone, because you need, if you really need redundancy, this is what you want to have. A cell phone only covers 7% of the earth. And so if the grid goes down, the cell phone towers go down, and so does your cell phone. So it doesn't matter how many data centers you have.
Right.
Yeah, if the grid is down, they're all going to go down. But this is one thing that is not going to go down. This covers 100% of the earth. It's encrypted, it's untraceable. The most secure phone call is from a satellite phone to another satellite phone. You could text message, but you could also call, other phones as well. All you need to do is step outside, pull this up. This little antenna is basically your cell phone tower.
Crazy.
And
It's very cool.
we have this $1,500 phone that we're basically giving away for free with a 24-month agreement.
Yep.
And it includes 1,500 minutes. And so for $95.55, I mean, here you have the redundancy that you need.
Yep.
You have the safety and security of knowing that you can make a phone call whenever you need. I mean, in Hawaii, when they had those fires and people couldn't get any phone calls out, the people that had the satellite phones, they not only were able to get help for themselves, but for their entire community. So all you really need is one per community, and you can make a world of difference.
Absolutely. And, what I love about the satellite phone store is that you have made something that, is normally very unreachable for a lot of families. It's expensive for a lot of families. You guys have found a way to make it affordable so that people can have the peace of mind of having that satellite phone. And I hope that more and more people use satellite phones just as their regular devices to make phone calls and their everyday devices, as people are getting they're getting a little bit sick of the cell phones and the social media, and they want to step away. I know that I do. I come up with plans on a regular basis on how to reduce my time on the cell phone. And there's even a trend among younger kids who are getting rid of their cell phones and their social media phones, and they're going for like the old school flip phones or satellite phones, which I just think is crazy. But really, what do you want? You want a phone to communicate. It doesn't need to do all of the other things. And so I would love to see that going even more mainstream than it already is.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And not just for those big emergencies, big catastrophes. We're talking about everyday thing. Imagine breaking down in your vehicle, or your mom or your dad breaking down in a vehicle in one of those areas where there's no cell phone coverage. We call some of those areas cell hell, because you get a cell phone coverage there.
Yeah.
But if they have one of these as a backup with them, now they can make a phone call anywhere.
Right.
They can get the assistance that they need, and they can get to safety. So even everyday living, there's a potential for something to happen. So, if you wait, it's too late.
I love it. I love it. Martha, thank you so much for being with us today and just filling us in on all of the ways that you guys are helping people prepare for the worst, even though, you never know what's going to happen and we don't live in fear. One of the best ways to eliminate fear is to prepare. And the more prepared you are, the less you worry, the less anxious you are, and the less that you fear. And this is what the folks over at Satellite Phone do every day, from solar panels, generators, Faraday products, the satellite phones that are your bread and butter. You have everything people need to prepare. So again, sat123.com/joy, sat123.com/joy. Anything else that you need to get off your chest before I let you go?
Again, just preparedness, be proactive. If you wait, it's typically too late. So don't wait for an emergency, a catastrophe to happen. Do it now, be prepared. That's my recommendation. And thank you so much, Shannon, for having me on the show. We really appreciate it.
Yes, I'm so glad to meet you. Like the Blanco sisters and cousins, like there's so many of you, and you're all so beautiful and amazing and talented and brilliant. And so it's really great to meet you. And I hope to have you on again soon so that we can talk about some of the newer developments as they come out, because this is a really important topic.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We'll be back in a moment. Keep it tuned right here on the Shannon Joy Show. All right, guys, there you go. The amazing Martha Blanco. Amazing interview with Martha. She is a wealth of information, and I just love those sisters. I saw a comment, again, obviously sponsored by the Satellite Phone Store. we have the most amazing sponsors here at the Shannon Joy Show. And as you guys know, I go out and find the sponsors that I want, the ones that are the most honest, ethical, have the best products, the best prices. This is why I went out and found the wellness company. I went down to Florida, actually, met with the CEO and pitched the Shannon Joy Show for sponsorship. I sought out Peter Schiff. I said, Peter, he's my gold guy. I said, I don't want to work with any other gold companies. I want to work with you. And so I gave him a very discounted rate because I know that Peter Schiff and Schiff Gold is among the best out there. And the same with the satellite phone store. You just met Martha Blanco. She's one of the sisters. Tina Blanco is on the show often. She's the president, CEO of the satellite phone store. We had Basima Williams on, Dr. Basima Williams, who is a functional health doctor. She also talks a lot about EMF poisoning, how to protect your body. She's amazing. And I've actually worked with her for my own health issues. They're just an amazing family. You see Jennifer, she's in one of the satellite phone store ads that I run on the show. And this is a family business. Like this company, one of the things I loved about them too was that like when you call the 800 number up there for help at the satellite phone store, you call it up, a human answers the phone. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. So yeah, Fearless Rose in USA. Let's get to the comments. We have about 5-10 minutes left to wrap up the Shannon Joy Show today. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I know that Tiffany's interview was heavy. A lot of really, really important financial information featured in the first interview of my show with Tiffany Cianci. I encourage you guys to go back and listen to it again. We didn't even get to as much as I wanted to get to. I might have to have her in next week and try to I want to kind of corral it. She has so much information and so much knowledge about what is happening. And there are so many areas that we are vulnerable in terms of our finances, that I think that it warrants a longer show. Tomorrow in the Joy Virtual Studio, we have Jeff Berwick. He's also really good in the financial world, crypto. He is the dollar vigilante. He has like millions of followers on all the different platforms, and he is a super great guest. So we're going to have him tomorrow. We're going to be talking about financial things, and also obviously the coming surveillance state, the technocracy. You know, it's really weird. They have all of these grand plans that actually look horrifying and dystopian, and they're all talking about it, right? No longer needing humans. Everything's the robots. We're in a complete surveillance state. We live in the 15-minute surveillance cities. We have the digital ID, the digital currency, all these things. Like they have this grand plan, and they're acting like it's inevitable. Like everything's there. The infrastructure's there. It's all ready to go. They have, the AI capabilities. We are rapidly approaching AGI. So, to the point where humans aren't even necessary anymore. We have super intelligence. We have sentient AI models that are even more brilliant than humans. Like it's all of these things. And it's all very frightening. And they act like it's just inevitable. Like there's nothing we can do about it. We're just going to take all the land, all the water, all your money. We're going to surveil you. Like that's just where it's going. And isn't this so great? It's the Manhattan Project, right? Isn't this wonderful? You'll have nothing and be happy. You'll eat the bugs and live in the apartment the size of a storage unit. And we're all just supposed to be happy. And then you wonder, I mean, do they really have these capabilities? Then we hear that, the data centers are not really about compute. They're not even going to be built. These Manhattan-sized data centers, they're not even going to be built. It's all just one big land grab for water rights, all under the guise of the race for the arms race for artificial intelligence against China. And so it's just insane to think like maybe they don't even have the capabilities, and I don't think they do. So I think at this point we just need to kind of call their bluff and continue to push back. And so that's why, I think it's important to have Tiffany on. People need to be knowledgeable. But again, I'm grappling actually with a lot of like this, when things move quickly and the news cycle accelerates, it's amazing to think that it could accelerate even more than it was last year, the year before during COVID. It's crazy, right? But now there's just no human person can grapple with all of it. It's a lot. And here I am, a human trying to deal with all of this. But Tiffany is, giving us really great information. And as you said, Fearless Rose in USA, preparedness is everything. Preparedness relieves worrying, which is not fruitful. Fear is the enemy of liberty. And so preparedness, this is why I have the sponsors that I have. Physical Gold and Silver, that is to prepare you for any type of financial turmoil, a satellite phone store, that is to prepare you for any type of brownout, blackout, natural disaster, government created disaster. Like, we need to be able to survive for a few days, right? So that we're not afraid, so that we're okay. Because it's always in the fog of an emergency that they do the most disastrous and dystopian things to us, right? In terms of the wellness company, being prepared so that you have access to a second opinion if you don't trust what your doctor is telling you, so that you have access to emergency medications if you need them, right? If the government decides to suppress ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine or any life-saving medical treatment, that's why you prepare with the emergency preparedness kit from the wellness company. And of course, Don Polano, PCM and Associates, he's my financial advisor, and I just adore him. But, so those are, that's when I go out and find sponsors, it's always purposeful, and I'm looking for the best. And I'm super excited because I'm actually I've been scoping out. So this is very exciting. I have 2 new advertisers and sponsors that I'm really working on and that I really want to bring on as valued sponsors of the show. One is a tallow company. I have a line on an amazing tallow company that creates products, natural, organic products. And the owner, I have actually a meeting with her in about a half an hour. She sent me a sample of their tallow scrub, which I am obsessed with. Okay, absolutely. It's so good. I make my own sugar scrub, and I use coconut oil, and I have a bunch of different ingredients that I use. I make it in my kitchen. So I'm really picky about scrubs. And she blew me away with this product. So I have a line on the tallow, and everybody needs exactly TEP 70, fear not passage in the Bible for a reason. Well, what do they say? Like 365 times in the Bible, we are commanded to not live in fear. We are commanded to not live in fear. Fear is not from the Lord. And this is what they're trying to sew up with all of these things that are we're being pummeled with it on a daily basis. We don't fear. And when you obliterate fear, you will then be free. And we can earn our freedom back. We're not free right now. We've gotten ourselves into a pickle, America, with this 2-party political system and the uniparty, the fact that we think that they're separate and distinct, but they're not. They work together. It's very obvious. In fact, Emerald Robinson had a great tweet. What did she tweet? Do I have it here? I've got to get Emerald on the show again because she's great. Where is that Emerald Robinson tweet that I pulled? I might not be able to find it. Darn it. It was something about the uniparty. I think it's right here. Let me see. Here it is. Emerald Robinson. Love her. You should all follow Emerald Robinson and Tiffany Cianci, by the way, on X, because they're great. But this is what Emerald had to say. She said, "We Americans are being presented with a false choice. And we've been being presented with false choices for a very long time." She said, "We can vote for Democrats and get gay luxury communism." I don't know if it's luxury communism, but okay. Or we can go vote for the GOP and get total surveillance capitalism. If we want to remain free people, we must reject both. This is the way. This is the way. Emerald Robinson, I agree with you. All right. And you need to find sources like Emerald Robinson, like Tiffany Cianci, like me, Shannon Joy, people who are bringing you information on a daily basis. It's complex. It's heavy. We hit a lot of topics here, but people who are independent, not bought off. The reason I have sponsors is because I don't take money from secret billionaires who are funding me, or lobbying organizations, or super PACs, or foreign governments, or the Democrat Party, or the Republican Party. We don't do that here in the Shannon Joy Show. I have sponsors. And that is why I am free. That's why I can sit here and tell you guys the truth. It's a luxury. I feel badly for my counterparts, my colleagues who work for networks that take the money, honey. and they have to say what they're told to say, or they can't speak about certain things. Sometimes it's not lies by commission. Sometimes it's lies by omission, right? You can take the money, honey, and just don't say these certain things. Don't expose these certain things, and you can just take the money. All right? You guys have to get better sources. I'm looking at Rumble. I love Rumble. Love Rumble. They're great. They don't suppress me. They don't censor the Shannon Joy Show. But I look out at all the lives that are being promoted on Rumble, like just total slop. Absolute slop with political agendas. People like Bongino, who he is a paid mouthpiece for the Trump administration. And he has been for the past 5 years, right? And he plays it off like he's a commentator or an analyst or a pundit that's telling you the truth. He can't tell you anything further from the truth from him. So, please continue to watch the Shannon Joy Show. One of I think the most distinguishing factor of this show, it's the guests that I bring in. And I have expert guests sometimes 3 to 4 times a week. And I bring them in and I want you to follow them. I don't want you to just get your information from me. I don't agree with all of them on everything all the time. But these are people who have been consistent in their analysis over a long enough period of time, typically over 10 years. I watch very closely and I observe. And these are people who have been willing to stand up and speak out when it's unpopular and they are faced with losing money, reputation, or even their lives. Those are the guests on the Shannon Joy Show. The most courageous, the most brilliant analysts and experts in every category, whether it's foreign policy, domestic policy, healthcare, education, finance, crypto, national security, the border, immigration, you name it. I have my list of experts, and I should start a list. I should start Shannon's list and put it on I should put that on my website to entice everyone to go there. And it's always moving because sometimes I have experts that are great and then they get political. And when they get political, then they're not experts on the Shannon Joy Show anymore. And there's no hard feelings there. It's just, it's business, not personal. I want people outside of the two-party political spectrum. You cannot be tethered to either the Democrats or the Republicans or the power institutions in the U.S. today if you want to be able to tell the truth. And that's what you guys should be listening for and looking for, right? I don't want you just to come here for analysis every day. I want you to go out and find them on your own as well. Fearless Rose in USA, thank you so much. You're doing an A+ job, Shannon. Really appreciate you. Simply keep doing what you're doing. None of us compare you with others. We wouldn't be here if we did. You guys are amazing, amazing. Mr. Worthless Eater. When will they learn we get the same tyrannical shit no matter what party we're forced to vote for? Exactly. Hegelian dialectic. It is the system of false choices, controlling both sides of the argument. That is what they do. It's a highly sophisticated operation. And the psychological operation is it's just breathtaking. We're going to talk about that tomorrow on the Shannon Joy Show. I want to start an adopt a boomer program. I've adopted my dad. I've talked to you all about my dear old dad. He loves himself some Trump. And I've made it now my mission. I've kind of just not engaged with him on the whole Trump thing because I love him and I don't want to ruin family dinners on politics, right? So we've just kind of agreed to disagree. He agreed with me on everything during COVID, right? So from 2020 through the Biden administration, he thought I was great, my own dad. But then when Trump came to town again to try to seize the presidency again, my dad, well, because he's kind of in the cult, basically stopped watching my show because he couldn't take the critique. And so we've kind of gone, I let him do his thing, I do my thing. But I've taken it upon myself because, again, and even talking today about what is coming for the boomers and retirees and people over 65 who have all of their money in the stock market or in a 401k or in a pension. And these pensions are now being plundered and looted by the billionaire class, with Donald Trump paving the way through executive orders and legislation and executive memorandums, all types of mechanisms to essentially make the plunder and the theft legal. And they're going after your 401k and your pension and your savings account, and even through insurance, which this is one of the areas that Larry Fink mentioned in his fireside chat with Greg Abbott, the Republican governor of Texas, where he spilled the beans. Essentially, he said, yeah, this is what we're doing. We are going to invest trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars into AI build out and data center infrastructure, and you're paying for it. He says, we're perfectly funded. We've got all the money in the world. We've got your money. That's what Larry Fink is saying. And they have their target squarely on the backs of the boomers and the retirees, many of whom believe Trump elected him into office in 2024 and believe that he is in there to drain the swamp. It's horrifying. So I've been sending my dad a lot of stuff. So I'm just, texting him all of my sources and all of the people that I feature here on the Shannon Joy Show. It's crazy. My dad and I would probably agree on every single issue. If we sat down and had a conversation about issues and topics without politicians, with no Trump involved, he and I would agree on everything, right? And that's how you know that Trump is a psyop. That's how you know that MAGA is a cult. That's how you know that this is a purposeful, layered, sophisticated propaganda operation to divide people and force us to make those false choices through the Hegelian dialectic. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow on the Shannon Joy Show. We're going to talk about a new Facebook page, and there's a big Twitter page as well called Leaving MAGA. And this has recently exploded as members seek support in leaving the Trump cult. And they also need protection from the bots and trolls. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow, Leaving MAGA. We're going to do a little bit more. I'm going to try to simplify as much as I can what's going on with everything that we talked about with Tiffany today, which was complex. Today was a heavy show. I'm going to try to, watch it again and make it, package it up so that it is consumable for an average viewer or listener or consumer. So we're going to talk about that. And of course, we're going to welcome Jeff Berwick into the Shannon Joy Show tomorrow as well. So we got a lot for tomorrow. And of course, next week, we have a big lineup of guests. I'm still working on solidifying Daniel Horowitz and Sasha Latapova. And I need to get Dr. Joe Sansone on again. He is my favorite psychotherapist. And I think we all need a little psychotherapy because the world is crazy. Everything is nutty. Nothing makes any sense. And it's just nuts. All right. So yeah, I have a tallow company, by the way, with sponsors that I'm working on. And the second one is, it is a consumable. It's like a powder that mimics what you would get with the GLP-1 shots, but it's not in a shot. It's not in an injection. And I had a long conversation with them. People are really struggling with their weight. A lot of people tried the GLP-1 injections and had bad side effects, but can't get off because they're getting the weight back. And it's just all so horrible. And this company has 8 patents on a consumable product that can mimic that and help people to lose weight. And it works. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. So those are the 2 new advertisers that I'm working on. Wish me luck. I'm going to be out trying to make that happen. But we have a lot of work to do here on the Shannon Joy Show, and we're going to keep growing. So thank you guys for being with us today on this show. Make sure, of course, comment, like. Oh, I have to do my raid before I exit. So it's / hold on, let me find my raid. /raid. And then I have to copy. There we go. And there we go. We're raiding Wendy Bell. Tell her whole audience how great the SJ audience is if you guys go over there. And we will be back tomorrow to do it all again right here on the Shannon Joy Show.